What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Hazy Ames here, and I'm excited for this video. I'm always excited for Final Fantasy reviews. This series has always kind of captivated me and has a lot of nostalgia for me, and I just really love the way Final Fantasy stories are conducted and played out for the most part. Obviously, there are stories that I like more than others, but the majority of the Final Fantasy games that I've played, and I have played a lot of them, as you can see over here, have been great and wonderful. So I'm excited to do this review. It's going to be over Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion. This is going to follow the story of Zack from the Final Fantasy VII game, and I honestly enjoyed this game quite a bit. There were some things that I didn't care for so much, but it really drove home the story of Zack for me, because I felt like when I played Final Fantasy VII when I was younger, I don't think I quite grasped the significance and impact that the story of Zack has on Final Fantasy's story as a whole. And that really drove home from the last encounter or scenes from the end of the game. And I'm going to be fairly vague when I talk about the stories and some of the character development to try to stay away from as many spoilers as I can. If you've seen some of my other reviews on story games, I try to keep things pretty vague when it comes to the story, characters, and things like that, so I don't spoil too much or hopefully spoil anything for you when you or if you decide to go play this game. But without further ado, let's go right into it. I have 20 hours put in. You could probably beat this game in 15, maybe quicker, if you really were pushing. It's not a terribly long game at all at 20 hours. If you're gonna get it, I do recommend picking it up on a sale. Sorry, I just had to clear out my download. It's kind of my OCD. But overall, I would definitely recommend this game. But definitely try to get it on a sale, as it is a pretty short game. And if you're like me, the replayability is pretty much play the game, get through the story, enjoy the game as much as I would like, and then kind of put it on the shelf and maybe come back to it at a later time, but most likely that won't happen, but you never know. Anyways, I've already got off on one tangent. I'm sure there will be more. But graphics, guys, up to par with Final Fantasy series, with the modernized Final Fantasy series games. Great graphics, looked good, cutscenes were amazing, summons that were called down were amazing. Character models, at least main character models, were amazing. Some of the little NPCs are kind of blah or bland, but man, the game looks phenomenal, you know. And some people don't really care about graphics, but I'm a person who, if the game looks good and the graphics feel right and the aesthetics for the era and the environmental effects in the area make sense, then that makes the game more immersive, and which makes the game better for me because I get drawn into the game more. So the graphics are phenomenal, guys. I give them an 8 out of 10. It might be a 7.5 out of 10. And the only reason I say that is because there are instances where there look like there are, I don't know the right word. It's not a skybox, but it's like the backdrop, I guess, maybe, of like the world or level that you're in is kind of generic or plain looking at times. But they really do make up for it in the cutscenes, man. 8 out of 10 for graphics, easily. Moving on to gameplay. Gameplay was honestly kind of different. And I say that because this game, you play the whole game as Zack entirely. There's no party. And I'm pretty certain through the majority of my other Final Fantasy games, they were, yeah, they all had a party that you ran around with, like a group, your party, you know? But this one was very different in that it only followed around Zack. I'm gonna get just some gameplay going here in the background as we talk over the game here. So yeah, the gameplay was different. I actually kind of enjoyed just the single character and the party, and that kind of means that all the combat, I mean, that does mean, doesn't kind of, it means that all the combat is revolved around your one character, which is good and it's bad because I feel like there's kind of instances in this game where the balancing of how strong I am compared to the enemies is a little off. I felt very overpowered for the majority of this game. There wasn't a ton of challenge. Yes, I did die, but it was usually on missions where they were like super high star missions, and I would get killed, you know, in the missions. I very rarely ever got killed in story. But the combat was pretty good as a single party setup. The summons were very good. The magic spells, and you know, is your typical materia system, obviously, with Final Fantasy. And I really did like the way they did kind of the limit breaks with this wheel over here. I thought that was kind of a different idea. I didn't necessarily love it, but it works. It does work. And I can't remember if they had that system in, I feel like they had that system in another Final Fantasy game, but it might have been 7. I don't know. I'm getting off another tangent. I gotta get focused. So yeah, the combat overall though was good. I did like the limit breaks and kind of how you unlock the limit breaks, and then that was also how you got your summons to activate, when all 3 of those would drop like a I can't even think of any of the summons names that I had, like Odin, like an Odin summon, or Bahamut summon. And then some of your limit breaks were cool. Yeah, I mean, just the way that the limit breaks even looked, it was like a little cutscene that you would kind of do like a cool special attack on the enemy. Combat was good. We'll get into a little bit more of why I thought the game was overpowered, or why I thought I was overpowered for the majority of the game. And we'll get into that a little bit later. That's probably literally only the only con that I have for the game would be that I felt OP for most of it. Yeah, so I felt like the magic spells, especially the Hell magic spells, the Hell, Fireaga, Blizzaga, Thundaga, for the majority of the game, unless like the mob was immune for whatever, and there wasn't very many immune mobs, was really overpowered. I would say probably 70% of the game I played using magic, and it might even be closer to 80%. This Hellfire Aga that I'm using, or even the Fire Aga, the one before, the weaker version, is just so powerful, and you can get it pretty early on if you can go down if you play the missions. The other kind of weird thing that I didn't really care for is this game was very linear. I felt like it was more linear than even Final Fantasy VII Integrated Remake. It was so linear. I didn't really think that was a downside, because I don't necessarily need a huge open world Final Fantasy game. as long as I can still get drawn into the story and I want to continue learning more about the characters and character development and the story and what's going on in the world. So I personally didn't mind the linear setup for the majority of the maps. I know some probably did, but I didn't think that was a huge deal. Yes, I would have liked a little bigger areas at times, but that, like I said, for me personally, not a huge deal. I did really actually enjoy doing the missions where you go to the save point to activate your side missions. So that was a little different. You would go talk to somebody, like say in the world, and you would talk to them about, you know, whatever's going on, and then they'd be like, you need to go do such and such. But to do that side mission, for the majority of the time, you would go to the save spot, hit Y to get mission, and then you would notice there would be some more missions unlocked, and those would be some of your side missions, or people you talked to unlocked it, or people that you had talked to would unlock those side missions. There was also side missions where you would actually have to go run around in the world and pick up certain items, grab certain chests, do certain things. There wasn't honestly a ton of those, or maybe I missed a bunch of those, but I didn't feel like there was a ton of retrieving quests. The majority of them were zoning you into an arena kind of style area and then killing the mobs, collecting the chests, and rinse and repeat on to the next mission. Another zone area. Missions do get kind of repetitive, old, and boring, but I honestly kind of enjoyed them. It was kind of a chill thing that I could do if I didn't want to really focus on paying attention to the story, if I was doing something else off to the side, like watching a TV series or movie. But yeah, gameplay overall was good. Very different. Definitely not my favorite gameplay as far as Final Fantasy VII's go. So yeah, so definitely not my favorite combat, but I honestly think that's because it wasn't in a party setting. I think I might have enjoyed it a little bit more. I think it just got kind of stale and repetitive, and maybe that's why I kind of enjoyed this game, is because the story was honestly kind of short and sweet. I mean, the story is probably just the story missions, I don't know, probably 12, 15 hours, because I played quite a few of the missions. But gameplay, 7 out of 10. I'm going to try to keep powering through this. We're getting already kind of long. I kind of knew that, though, because there's a lot I want to say about this game, because it is kind of unique, special, and I do love Final Fantasy, so... Sound. Right on par with any other Final Fantasy game, guys. 7.5 out of 10. It's not as high as some of the other ones. I mean, I think I gave Final Fantasy VII Integrated Remake a 9 out of 10, maybe an 8.5 out of 10. This music in this game was good. At times, I felt like it was kind of generic, but the times where it needed to be like that spectacular, like get into your like the chill bumps on your arm, the times where it needed to draw out the emotion in the music, it really did well. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. That might even be a little harsh. I might need to take that up a couple notches, but we'll keep it as 7.5 out of 10. It's very well done. Like I said, it's not the best music score tracks that I have experienced in a Final Fantasy game. The characters and story, like I said, it was very different than any other Final Fantasy game, as you primarily focused on one main character, Zack. Yeah, you do learn about Genesis, and you learn about Sephiroth, and you learn about Angel, and Cloud, and Aerith, and who was the other? Cisne, Cloud. I already said Cloud. I can't remember the other girl's name. Tifa. But they don't spend, like, that's not the focus of the characters, right? So, character's good. I really did enjoy the character of Genesis. I loved Genesis's dialogue. Anytime there was a cutscene with him, I was like laser focused, like wanted to listen to just the almost poetry that was coming out of his mouth. The dialogue for Genesis was very well, loved it. Sephiroth, I loved the story of him, of how he kind of became his corrupt self and his evil self, and how he kind of honestly played a part in his own madness. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because it was kind of a cool part in the story that I don't know if I forgot about or didn't see or what. But that part of the story and character development for Sephiroth was wonderfully done. Angel was okay. I myself didn't really care for his character. It was all right. He felt like kind of the father figure to Zack at times. Also was a very confusing character at times. I didn't know if he was trying to help me, or if he was against me, or if he was somewhere in between, or if he was just mad himself. So if someone can explain Angel to me in the comments, that would be awesome. I would appreciate it, because I got a little lost in his story. The overall story was great, man. The best part of the characters and story was at the end of the game, dude. My brain was like literally on the floor when I realized what I was about to be a part of in Zack's story. And then how they went on with it to like cut scenes, and then this cut scene, and then this music, and then you got to do this. It was so well gelled and melded together, in my opinion. Man, it was good. I had like goosebumps going. The music was good. The way they put it together, amazing. I don't want to go into too much detail, because the ending of this game, I think, is just phenomenal. I loved it. Every second of the ending was just great. Replayability, you know me, same old, same old. Like I said earlier, probably just going on the shelf. Probably keep it in the catalog of games. Maybe return to it at some point, but highly doubt it. Replayability for me, there's 0. It's gonna collect dust. If you're an achievement chaser, go for it. I mean, you could probably play through it again if you're just hunting achievements, or if you want to play on... Is there a harder difficulty? I don't even remember. Bugs. Oh, did I give a score for character and stories? I don't think I did. Characters and story, I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10. Very well done. That's about it. Replayability, I already talked about. Bugs, I didn't run into any bugs, 0 bugs. The only con I had, I kind of touched on earlier, was I felt very overpowered with the Hellfire Aga, Blizzaga, Thundaga, especially when I paired it with items that boosted my magic. But that's about all I got for you guys. The video is already getting a little lengthy. Please let me know what you think about this game down in the comments. If you loved it, if you hated it, if you were somewhere in between. If there's some things that I didn't know about, like story-wise, like the whole, like when I was talking about Angel, if you know anything about Angel. Like I said, I got a little lost in that story. Thank you guys for stopping by. Much love. Please like and subscribe. Have a good day or night wherever you're at in the world, and we will catch you on the next one.